So when you hear the word Viking, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably horned helmets, right? Long ships, brutal raids, this image of just pure savage fury. And look, that picture isn't entirely wrong, but it's missing the most important and, frankly, the most interesting part of the story.
This wasn't just some dramatic line from a movie. This was a real prayer that churches actually added to their services after the year 793 AD. Why? Because that was the year Viking longships appeared on the horizon of the holy island of Lindisfarne in England. They sacked the monastery, they killed or enslaved the monks, and they took off with all its priceless treasures. That one single event, right there, pretty much cemented their terrifying reputation across all of Europe for centuries to come.
So you gotta ask, what was behind all this? Was it just random, bloodthirsty violence? A crime of opportunity? For a long, long time, that's exactly what history told us. But the truth? Well, the truth is way more complex. The raid on Lindisfarne wasn't the beginning of a story. It was more like the explosive middle of a war that had already started. Yeah, to really get what drove the Vikings, we've got to hit rewind, because in their minds, they were just responding to a war that had already been declared on them, on their culture, their people, and their gods. To understand the Viking attack in 793, you have to know what the Frankish Emperor Charlemagne was doing for decades beforehand. He was on a mission, a violent campaign to expand his Christian empire. And he saw the pagan Norse people to the north as a direct threat, something to be either conquered or completely wiped out. This wasn't a Cold War. This was a very, very hot one. So in 772, Charlemagne ordered the destruction of what was arguably the most sacred site in the entire Norse religion, their world tree Yggdrasil. Now for the Vikings, this wasn't just burning some big tree, this was an act of cosmic warfare. It was like tearing down the holiest cathedral, mosque, and temple all at once, a direct attempt to trigger their version of the apocalypse, Ragnarok. So when word gets to the Vikings that England is just allied with their mortal enemy, Charlemagne, they can see their writing on the wall. The attack on Lindisfarne wasn't just for plunder. No, it was a message. It was a brutal, strategic, preemptive strike against a brand new ally of the empire that was trying to literally erase them from existence.
But here's the thing. If we only focus on the violence, we're missing like half the story. The Vikings weren't just warriors. These people were some of the most daring explorers, sophisticated traders, and influential nation builders of their time.
While some of their relatives were raiding Europe, other Norsemen were just pushing the boundaries of the known world. I mean, they settled the totally uninhabited island of Iceland. A guy named Eric the Red, an exile no less, established a colony in Greenland. And then his son, Leif Erikson, lands in North America, what he called Vinland, almost 500 years before Columbus even set sail. Think about that.
And their influence wasn't just in